So in front of me, I have my kid's first incident report from daycare. The description of the incident. While waiting for breakfast, Stellan went up to a friend and bit them. Action taken. We removed Stellan from the situation and fed him breakfast.
I like that also the way that the incident report form looks. It looks like a write-up that you get at work or like a cheesy ticket from a cop or a courthouse.
Oh yeah, it definitely sounds the same way. And apparently, I'm raising some sort of vampire or a cannibal. Hopefully, the former.
I mean, 2025. We've got time to find out what kind of new things are going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Should we start the show?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, welcome all you cannibals to this fun adventure. This is episode 18 of the Geeqoid podcast.
Eat your heart out.
Where Jarrad and myself, Erik, cover news, games, entertainment, trending topics, and let's just have a good old chat. You have a mosquito encased in amber? Did you go to Jurassic Park or what? What's this from? What?
Yeah, I kicked that old man in the knee and I took his cane. It was a gift I got from a coworker, which was really cool.
Okay, that's pretty dope.
Because they know I like Harry Potter and Jurassic Park and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thanks.
All right. Well, I'm going to kick stuff off because Doom, The Dark Ages, came out. And I had to spring for Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, did you?
I did,
yes.
Whoa,
tell me about it.
So the game so far has been pretty great. But the launch itself has been a little rough around the edges.
How so?
Yeah, so when I first fired it up, it's like, you should probably update your BIOS, which this is not on id or Microsoft for asking me to update my BIOS.
What's your BIOS, just for those?
So BIOS stands for Basic Input Output System or something. It's literally the very core fundamental input output stuff that happens in your computer.
For what?
For my computer. No, you're asking why do I need to update it? Gotcha. So apparently there's something with the Intel 13 and 14 gen processors that it was warning me. It's like, if you don't update your BIOS, you could maybe destroy your processor. I was like, that sounds pretty serious. I should definitely update my BIOS. So I had to jump through those hoops to update my BIOS, which it's not a trivial thing. It's not like you just download something and run it on your computer. You have to put it on a flash stick and then plug it into the back of your computer and then go through the boot up.
Are you
system.
Serious?
Yeah, no, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
That's kind of a pain in the ass to play a fucking video game.
Yeah, but but this wasn't on them. This was basically them saying you should really do this to make sure your computer doesn't malfunction, which is
meltdown.
Yeah. But then when I went to run the game itself, I was like, oh, finally, I've installed everything. I've gone through this BIOS update. I was in work meetings all day and I was just doing all this behind the scenes. And my meeting session ended. I'm like, I have an hour to play video games uninterrupted. And I launch it and I hear the sounds of the game, but I don't see anything on my screen. So apparently there's an issue with both AMD and NVIDIA graphics cards where you may launch the game and it'll run in the background. And there's no way to bring it to the foreground. So like you can hear the game running, like it goes through the intro sequences and like the main menu is there, but you just can't interact with it or see it. So like they're like, yeah, don't alt tab while launching the game. No issue. I'm like, I didn't alt tab. I restarted my computer, I kid you not, 7 times, trying to diagnose this issue. I ended up reinstalling the latest drivers from NVIDIA, restarting my computer, and just like disabling any sort of overlay potential, and finally got it to work. And once I got it to work, it ran great. And I got to tell you, this Doom game, it feels like a Doom game, and it is phenomenal. I very much enjoyed it once I got into the experience, but getting to that point, I kid you not, was like 6 hours.
That's gross, dude. You should never have 6 hours to try to play a video game.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Does that mean we need some new Christmas presents coming your way?
No, I mean, everything is up to snuff now. And here's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily on id or Microsoft. Like, it's kind of on NVIDIA. Like, it's a driver issue for sure. But like, so here's the thing. id Software, they have their own engine. They're on id Tech 8, like the 8th version of their engine that has powered all of their first-person shooters since time immemorial. And like, they're pushing the envelope when it comes to technology. And so they're doing a few things, and occasionally the drivers don't agree with it. And so that's why they got to work hand in hand with AMD and NVIDIA to try and solve things and make sure they work. So there'll probably be a hot fix. My guess would be Monday that solves this issue that I was dealing with. But still, it's a pain in the ass.
So how long did you play? How far did you get? I think it's in 3 chapters or 3, something like that. So
well, I think there's a total of 22 chapters.
Okay.
I played through 3 or 4, about an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe. No, probably closer to an hour and a half. But yeah, I mean, it's buttery smooth. It is really quick. It is the same type of frantic Doom play style. And I know a lot of the criticisms are like, people are like, oh, this isn't like a PC shooter. It's more like a console. And I got to respond to that, because I understand where they're coming from. But if you look at the original gameplay from Doom and Doom 2, there were no mouse input. You were literally running around just using WASD and the arrow keys. And so there was no kind of fine control. And so that definitely harkens to a type of gamepad input. So I understand what people are saying, but at the same time, like, I don't really qualify Doom as, like, yes, it started on PC, but it's not your quintessential type of PC shooter, if that makes sense.
It does, but it does for me as like super in the trenches. So it has always been very unique, and I don't want to say bleeding edge. I think unique is probably the right word, where they want this game to be special, unique, which I used, and I think even quirky. Like, they want some of that differences from other games. There was something I listened to earlier, actually today, they were talking to who's the head developer for id?
I mean, John Carmack was
John
one of the
Carmack.
founders, but he's no longer at id.
Right. But whoever has helped
There's also John Romero, who is like
John
the
Romero,
creative guy
so
way back, but he hasn't been there in decades.
So, well, then maybe the story is a little weird, and if I had more detail, I'd give it to you guys. But what I did like was the essence of it, and that is they were doing D&D. One of them would conduct D&D plays. You know, they would just sit back and try to take breaks. And there was a lot of like inspiration that kind of followed in these dooms. And the guy that was talking about it today had this weird, like, very nostalgic, like, this feels like if they would have made like a Doom and a dark heavy metal sci-fi fantasy, this is it. And it made him, like, you could hear it in his voice during the podcast, like whatever he's putting onto that, projecting onto this image that he has. But it made me love the game and the idea of the game like 10 more times.
So I will say that, like, when I was trying to play the game and I couldn't, but I heard the music, oh, it is heavy metal. It is badass. It just, it gets your blood coursing. So there's that element. Like the sound design is phenomenal. And what is really weird is that Doom isn't necessarily known for storytelling, but they're introducing a number of really rich aspects to the story. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Tell me more. Like I am invested in the story and I want to learn more and I want to play more to learn more. So it's they're firing on all cylinders, I gotta say.
I really, and people are upset because it doesn't have some of those Halo aspects where you can jump and shoot, but within then they gave you other things like the shield and multiple ways to use a shield. And I think more so in this game than a lot of other Doom games, you could use whatever, the power shotgun. Like, if you really like that gun, they're not going to hold you back. You can level it up and power it up, and you could use that through the whole game if you wish. Who would want to, because there's so many cool toys and things to play around with. You know, I like the idea that I mean, it's a callback to Captain America, but the shield can do so many other things as you progress through the game, and one of them is the throw the shield, let it do crazy chainsaw things, and come back to you.
It's a great addition to the series, I gotta say.
And I think they've done where people liked Doom Eternal is like a big one, especially that double jump and jumping and getting out of the way and hopping.
I just got to jump in here. Epic is having their mega sale currently, and if you haven't picked up Doom Eternal, I believe it is only $7 on the Epic Game Store.
It's a really, really good game.
Like $70 down to $7.
I was able to play that game for a heartbeat, but there was a time where like my computer just it couldn't handle it. It was the same time
would melt.
that was the same time as Evolve. I was able to play Evolve and I couldn't, like, Eternal was just too much. That was the AAA of that time period where it was like they were testing, was this, like, right now I think Outlaws is the newest game in Cyberpunk, but even Outlaws outdoes Cyberpunk as far as like what can your computer or console handle. In Outlaws is right now kind of that. Back in the day, Eternal was that.
Can I play Crysis?
Yeah, yeah. Back in the day, even further back, yeah, it was Crysis. Yeah, it's funny. It looks great. It looks bombastic and fun with
That's what it is.
something with a storyline. And there is that, why is it sci-fi? Why is it dark fantasy? And it kind of gives you these answers. This is cool, man. This is the coolest.
It is the best id game in I don't know how long. I can't wait to play more of it.
They wanted that heavy metal element again because everybody liked it, and so did they. But they even changed up the type of heavy metal. Like, they were conscious of that. And so much so, all the reviews that I've been watching and listening to, people are turning down everything to 25% and letting the heavy metal be at 85, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like,
that's
wow,
interesting.
That's cool, dude. That's a whole new level that I didn't even hear from Eternal. So that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's keep moving because like we're waxing poetic about Doom and we're 16 minutes in. We got a huge docket from what I hear. So real quick, if you haven't snagged a Switch 2 pre-order like Jarrad, I mean like me because he got one. I don't have one.
Walmart.
Yeah, keep checking Walmart, but also GameStop apparently is saying they're going to have excess inventory that
refresh.
You can go into stores on June 4th.
Oh, day before.
Yeah, pre-order and then show up and pick it up. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's neat.
I may end up.
It's
doing
interesting
that.
it's 24 hour. I guess because they're waiting and making sure like they actually have their inventory for launch day, and then they'll divvy up. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a Switch 2 news. We don't need to do any more Switch 2 news. Kojima.
But do we though?
Oh, do you have more Switch 2 news?
The only, and I don't know this much about it, so I'm gonna throw it out.
I don't
there.
want this to turn into a Switch 2 podcast.
There's a fucking giant Pikachu behind me. You kiss my ass. There are, if anybody doesn't know, so Nintendo is doing something different on an economical scale, or I don't know, it's not the right word, but they're going to do their cartridges, which is also still unique to a lot of other people, but Nintendo likes to do some things old. Their new thing is that they're going to do console game key cards. Oh, that was a good nap. Nintendo says Switch 2 game key cards help third-party publishers bring deeper, larger, and more immersive content on the platform. The idea behind that title is that the game cards max can only hold 64 gigs. At this point in 2025, our Lord, blah, blah, blah. Most games are nowhere near 64, 5, whatever, gigabytes. I mean, we're pushing things like Call of Duty is like 256. It's like a minimum of an iPhone, like as far as storage. So their way to combat this, but I think it's also them on a sales point. If you buy a cartridge that has storage, it costs more money. To circumvent this, but Nintendo still make money, there is another flip side to this. You can do a cartridge which has basically like a Steam key code that's attached to it. When you attach it, plug it into the Steam, it will then recognize it and then online digitally download the game. Yeah. Yep. Your head just said like, why? It is awesome. It's super cost efficient for the third party, and guess what? It's very Apple-esque. they also still get a profit, like a 10 to 30%.
Well, yeah,
profit
they're
off of
definitely
this.
they're getting the same amount of profit. I have to imagine that you say is better for developers. I don't understand. Like, yeah, they don't have to go through the manufacturing process of the cartridges and uploading the game. So maybe they, but at the same time,
Just do it digital.
yeah,
Just go to the store and download it
it's
digitally.
bandwidth cost one way or another. At the end of the day,
yeah.
like they're not
The pro is for the consumer is that you could still take this cartridge that you did buy. So this also helps the retail stores. You have something physical on the shelf,
yeah.
And
That's the
that-
big thing.
and that you could sell it basically in your digital library. It's now non-existent. If you clicked on it, it's like now you don't own it, or somebody else. It's in somebody else's Switch. But it's a very weird new way of like trying to do things, and it's this weird haphazard in between of like, if it doesn't fit on the cartridge, it doesn't fit on the cartridge. Just do a digital download.
Yeah, no, it
It's
makes
trying
sense.
to appease so many parties.
They want a presence in the stores, and also like if you're gifting a game, like it's
Yeah.
more impactful if you gift the box and the sleeve instead of just handing someone a piece of paper that has a QR code on it or something.
And in this regard, like they're saying, you could still sell this to Disc Replay. Disc
Which
Replay could still, and they could still sell it, and you could still get a used copy, which is really weird. Even I did air quotes, a used copy.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is bizarre.
That's all I've got.
Yeah. All right, what do you got next?
We had the tariffs. They raised. They lowered. They raised. They lowered. They're
Up,
like
down, left, right.
They're-
A B.
start. They're like Six Flags, who are also about to fold. That's another note in pop culture. Rest in peace, Six Flags. Which, sorry, I don't care. I love you so much. Sony is now, because Sony or Nintendo started this, Microsoft went full head first into it. Sony is now considering raising the price of the PlayStation 5 in the US. They've been the leading console and even video game person for how many years? But they're like, I mean, this is a cool bandwagon. Can I make like $50 more? And so they're considering it. And they said this out loud. They did say, due to factors like the tariffs, folks, these tariffs are like a wave currently with the current administration. But they sound like they're gonna do it, and okie dokie.
Yeah.
What's funny,
here's
the first thing, before you say anything, everybody was so shitty that Nintendo was at $450. And they were like, well, now and I said it earlier, now you're in the same ballpark as the base level, blah, blah, blah. And in the end, Nintendo is now still the cheapest console in manufacture you can buy, because everybody just raised their prices to like $600 and $700.
Yeah, everything is working in Nintendo's favor. And here's the thing for Microsoft and PlayStation, like the console's been out for almost a decade at this point. Like if you were going to get one, you would have got one already. So whoever the people are that are buying these consoles now, like,
yeah, I wonder, like, where are you really going to get this
who's
money
buying
from?
them?
Yeah. Like, why?
So I mean, I can definitely think of some groups of people who might be buying them, like kids coming of age. The parents want to get them one. Like none of my nieces and nephews have an Xbox or a PlayStation, but I can tell you right now that they're getting close to the age where they might want one.
Yeah, and it's still, even with Nintendo at $450, it's going to be very hard for parents to be like, "Ooh, I'm going to buy my kid a $400 or $500 console." Like, it's getting,
Yeah, no.
yeah, Sony's already raised prices in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, similar kind of economic, areas. So I guess it's the people say this all the time. This is the world we live in now, and that's true. I just wish there was something else we could say about that. I'm indifferent about software and video game hikes because you and I do know that it's a small margin, just like board games. But when it's taking larger and larger and millions and hundreds of people taking hundreds and hundreds of hours away from family, and hopefully it doesn't go to the board or investors, it is actually going to those people. I do agree with that. Do I think it's going to go to those people? No, I think it will go to the investors and the board.
Yeah.
But some of these hardware, the fundamental thing that you need to get it into the houses, into the homes, and initial scares because of who we have currently, and then it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then they're like, oh, well, that's it. We'll just raise it just to be safe. And also, this is a good time to raise a margin.
All right, moving right along. Do you want me to take the next one? All right. I'm going to switch to AI for a second. There's some pretty interesting developments over the last few days. Grok, which is XAI / X / Elon Musk. Apparently, if you ask it anything, it just went on and on about white genocide.
Jesus Christ, are you kidding me?
And apparently this is due to an unauthorized modification to the prompt code in Grok.
People are not happy with him, and people are doing some fucking amazing things. Now, I'm not saying it's right, but
no, this is just fuel on the fire at this point. So they've come out and they've said, unauthorized modifications were made. We've implemented additional steps to approve and check the changes that are made. But I'm like, how does this happen? Like, this has to be a pretty senior person making changes to the source code. Like this is not a junior engineer just having fun on a weekend. Like, this is, and here's the thing: we're not going to get any answers because this is a private company. They're not publicly held at this point.
right.
But yeah, I mean, it just goes to show you like how a small tweak to one of the major foundational models can just throw everything out of whack. So
I'll add to that small tweak started with one man who had an idea, invested money, but I mean, that man was at one point in time was going to be removed from Tesla, his own company, for other reasons we don't have to talk about, years ago. So your actions have consequences even within something that you created.
Let's be careful. We're not blaming Elon for the white genocide nonsense.
I need another drink, and I'm empty. I hope that this is my positive spin on this, because
there can be one.
Yeah, my hope is just like Apple or Google or Microsoft, that as they are developing their technology for AI and such, that certain individuals who do have control or can have a huge sway in what happens, that positive and productive development of these things do happen, even though there are these people above them doing cuckoo clown-like things.
Congratulations, you strung some words together.
Period.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Fucking God. Speaking of AI, Apple is considering using Google's Gemini to run or heavily benefit their Siri AI, and they're even considering looking at that as more of the new search model, because from records showing, people are actively, you can download the Gemini app, you can download the Chat GPT app, and so on and so forth, and people are using it. It's easy, especially for me. I'm in the car and I can just ask it something instead of trying this or that, or I just ask it instead of trying to type or swipe. So I think that's neat, and because they are still a little trying to figure out their way of how they want to do AI. I do give them that props. It's not like they want to do AI. They want to do something extremely so hardcore specific. But so they're looking into it. I think that's cool.
So here's my take. Obviously, they went with OpenAI to begin with.
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, we might go with Gemini. But the biggest tell is that they don't have their own foundational model.
No.
Apple is one of the largest corporations in the world. They were the largest. And yet they have all these data centers. Like they just didn't bother.
I agree. But I think it's Apple. They're so they're so eclectic. They're looking for that weird niche. And they wanted to go, I think, probably now 10 years ago, but we were only hearing last 3 years. They wanted something that was within that Apple privacy specific thing, where it's all localized, but yet it can dissect from your calendar app and like your last phone calls and like even your last text messages. Like it's all like, I'm using my fingers like a fucking
here's the thing,
spider.
That all is well and good, but that has nothing to do with the foundational scientific engineering that goes into developing a foundational model. Like
that's where they were like, whoopsie.
Yeah, like they done fucked up.
Yeah. I think they had and they still do. I think that idea is a great idea. Do you see anybody else doing it? No. And that's why they're like, oh my God, we're going to fucking do this. But in the meantime, we're going to use chat because we need a little bit of that while we figure it out. And then you find out there's distress throughout like 5 departments.
Yeah.
And now they're like,
ridiculous.
Hey, Google.
I should reach out to I know some people who work at Apple. I should reach out to them and be like, what's it feel like? Boots on the ground feeling.
From what I've heard, they're not happy. And but like it's enough so I've never heard of, and I'm not going to say they're lower level because they get paid really well and they do amazing things, but they're on the lower level of like your Johnny Ive, rest in peace. He's, somewhere else. And you're
still alive.
Rest in peace. He's somewhere else is what I meant. He's not with Apple. And
No, he's
Like,
working
what-
with OpenAI.
Yeah. But he's with somebody else. That's why I said rest in peace. Rest in peace. He's not with Apple. Rest in peace. Jeez, get with the picture, Eric. But this is the first time I heard like almost like mutiny. Like the whole lower and mid tier is like, no, motherfuckers. Like that's it. Your kid's fine, hopefully.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
We can always do another bottle break. I can use a drink break, so it's my own bottle break.
I don't know if the bottle's gonna like it's the witching hour. He's probably close to going to sleep. It's just I don't know.
Didn't sound like witching, it sounded like liching. So we'll see. I don't know. Again, we'll keep you updated as we find out things so that you don't have to do the research yourself.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Or not. Depends on how we feel on a week-to-week basis.
I don't mind shit on Apple. I will be an Apple sheep, but at the same time, I will shit on Apple when Apple does something dumb. And this one takes a huge cake.
All right, what do we got next?
Do you like Final Fantasy?
Oh, I love Final Fantasy. It is top of my list of all-time favorite games.
Why? And there's been, 16 games? So that's a lot of years.
There's been a lot more than 16, but there's only been 16 numbered Final Fantasy games.
Ooh, good call. Look at you, lore master.
Yeah, I mean, there's been... You look at Final Fantasy VII in particular, there's been Final Fantasy VII plus Final
20.
Fantasy VII remake, read something.
Remaster.
Yeah, like
and
there's
Rebirth.
been about half a dozen Final Fantasy VII games. So there's probably closer to 50
Well, and then you have
Final
X.
Fantasy games.
X2, 13 had 2.
Oh, yeah, those are good games too. I did play them all.
You had 14. You had 14 online. Is 16 also online and also its own thing? That's where I get confused between two onlines.
Yeah,
and they're both good.
Yeah, there's the MMOs and then there's the single player games, and
They're good. My brother-in-law plays one of them. I don't remember which one. I need to ask him. And I'll say it for the next podcast.
Marcus, what are you playing?
Yeah, but he plays at least an hour every day like we used to with WoW. And he has done that for the last 4 years, 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
Dedication.
That's legit.
I mean, if it's
Like,
going back that far, it's probably Final Fantasy 14 because that's the one that has been long running. That'd be my guess.
That's impressive. I don't think I could still do that with WoW. Like, there's a certain point you got to do raids, and I hate raids. So, no.
They're all people-y and stuff.
I hate 40 man, even 20. Like, it's too many people. My introvert gets really introvert.
Yeah, no, that's one of like the heroic stuff that was 5-person. Like that was my limit.
What Final Fantasy games have you played? Which were your favorite?
I mean, I've played pretty much all of them, but
Oh, really? Oh, dude.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
I am a Final Fantasy just through and through. But my favorites are 3/6. So 3 in Japan, 6 in the United States, or no, 6 in Japan, 3 in the United States.
Okay.
That was one of the most core Final Fantasy games, and Final Fantasy VII. Oh,
Sure.
It
Me
just-
too, dude. That was my intro. I think tons, everybody. 7 was a huge intro.
yeah. So I mean, for me in particular, it was really funny because the game came out. It came out on PlayStation.
Yep.
PlayStation 1.
Yep. PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
4 CDs.
And I didn't get it on PlayStation. I got it on PC when it came out on PC. And because I was in I think I was in high school at that point, like maybe a freshman, and I had my own personal laptop to go with high school, and my parents left the country. They went to Japan for a work trip.
What?
And so we had a babysitter, and she just did not do her job. So I literally stayed up every night, like in the basement from like 7 p.m. until 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. just playing Final Fantasy 7 on my laptop.
That's great, dude. That's amazing.
And then I would play it during lunch breaks at school.
Fuck you, Sandy.
So yeah, so I mean that was just that was Final Fantasy 7, the original, was hands down one of the best games ever made.
It was great. I was playing it in high school, and then I was I was dating a freshman in college, and I would go to her friends' houses or apartments who were also in college, and they were playing Final Fantasy 7. And we worked together to figure out how to do the final boss, how to do the right, like, what little balls, magicka to add to each person. To level them up to the right level or to the right, degree to then beat the final boss. It was great, dude. That was a great time in my life. 1997, 98, whatever.
Yeah.
Did you play any of the games after that, like 10 or?
Oh yeah, like 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, like I said, I've played all of them.
Did you play the last one where they had to do the whole cruise? It was the 3 of them, and they sandbox where they just cruise through the look like Utah.
Okay, no, I didn't do that one. I fell off. I'll be honest. I guess technically I haven't played all of them, but.
So, have you played Magic the Gathering ever in your life?
That's your segue?
I think it's a decent segue for this long conversation. Even I'm going to be like, well, that was a little long.
Yeah, I know where this is going. I mean, I played Magic the Gathering, and I collected cards since, what, 4th gen? I think up and through, no, even before 4th gen, up until, I don't even know what it's called anymore because it's been that long.
You can say a year or two. That also helps a lot of people understand what the hell you're saying, like me.
I'm confused about the years. Time is weird. I look at my watch. I'm like
2025. It's 2025, Eric. We're coming home. It's
2013.
Okay.
I think I played from 1997 to 2013. So like,
that's a good time.
That's a good chunk of time.
Okay, all right.
I had boxes of cards.
Do you have any of those, by the way? Just side note, like,
no, I sold them.
Oh my God. I'll bang my head on this foamy windscreen of
I don't think they were
shotgun.
that valuable.
They would be now. They would be now. I got friends that could tell you differently. So, this has been I would say it's long awaited. It's not long awaited. Nobody suspected this at all. They did this. I don't even know how they did it. It's so behind the scenes, and then they just go, hey, by the way,
it's out of left field.
Yeah, left field. Yeah, good. Yeah. And it's a rolling ball, but nobody can catch it. They're all slipping in mud. Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy have come together to do whatever, a Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy set of cards. I have anybody who is, please follow, listen, and like, and positively review if you can. If you negatively, it's fine too. But anybody who's listening to us, you should listen and watch interviews on YouTube, IGN, whatever. It is fascinating the time and effort both parties took to create this into a game form that works in the Magic the Gathering ethos with all 16 games, because that's something they wanted to do, that they wanted to represent 1 through 16, and also figure out a way that moments in each of the games, characters even in each of the games, can represent the different manas that are in Magic. It's fascinating.
Okay,
So
I got to dig
fascinating.
into this because, like,
It's the first time I want to play Magic, and I hate Magic. That's why I play Hearthstone, because Hearthstone makes sense. Magic has been around for God's century, and it didn't make sense. And Jared Brown introduced me to Magic in 1996, and I went, huh?
yeah, that's about the same time I got introduced. Elementary school.
Okay, you just aged me by a few.
Just a few.
1996, I would have been 15 or 16. It's fine. You would not have been in elementary school. You're not that much younger than me.
No, but I was introduced in elementary school. Like, I think 3rd or 5th grade, somewhere between there, is when I first got introduced to Magic.
Side note, if I would have been introduced to Pokemon in middle school, junior high, or high school, holy hell. Because I like Pokemon the game now, the TCG.
I don't think it existed back then.
I don't think it did. And I really, really wish it would have. I love their mechanism and their way of doing things.
I might have some Pokemon cards in my garage. I should take a look.
I'll be there June 20-something. I'll take that and that Jurassic poster that I took from you. June 13th is a release date for this amazing collaboration. Folks, make it be the coolest thing ever, and like the Switch 2, have them sell out and all the places crash.
Wait, what? June 13th?
June 13th, that's when the cards officially come out. Of course, people are already getting cards.
And then you tripped into Switch 2.
Make it sell out, that all the stores crash. Just bomb buster them. Just flood the gates, and they're like, we can't keep up. We gotta shut the door.
All right, we're gonna edit this part of the show. Any other updates? I mean, I got a few.
You go next. I got one, but you go next.
So last week we teased the Half-Life 3 existence.
You did, and I pooped my pants.
But if you haven't played the original Half-Life, Black Mesa, which is a fan-made remake of the original, is on sale right now for $2.
Holy Jesus, are you kidding me? That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I would totally, if you haven't played it, I would pick it up right now. So, like, Jared, go pick it up.
Can I play it on my PC with an Intel i7 10th gen?
You can maybe play it on iPad. I don't know.
Oh, that is true. You can play Alien Isolation on your iPad. For God's sakes, you could probably play. Yeah, you could probably play that.
Yeah, probably. Also, an interesting note: Kojima. Do you know who Kojima is?
Ooh, can you remind me? He sounds so familiar.
Yes. So
has he made like Mario games?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of someone else.
Oh, just because he's Kojima? Japanese. So Kojima is the guy.
Wow. Okay. Not at all, Eric. You take that back, you stereotyping piece of donkey do.
What, you're offended that I called you a racist inadvertently?
Go on.
So Kojima is behind Metal Gear Solid and all the Metal Gear games.
Yes, he has been.
He's
He
also left and now behind Death
Konami.
Stranding.
He did start that, and he's starting the second one.
So I think technically this is maybe in the rumor mill section. Apparently he has a USB stick with game ideas that he plans to leave on after he dies.
That is the most Kojima dumb shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. He also has, I think, a third game that I can't remember right now, and he's also really wanting to do something live action and game related, which we saw that 10 years ago. And it went okay. There was a lot of production value, and we were all hopeful. So good for you, Kojima. Good for you and your little thumb drive from 1999. That's fucking weird. Well, that sounds like him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you threw that in there.
All right, continue the rumor mill. EA is not planning to raise prices on games like Nintendo and Xbox are.
They're the only person.
Yeah, they're like, we're just gonna stand tall.
They make again.
They're gonna cave. They're going to cave.
If Sony does it officially, because Sony has no reason. There is no reason at all, and especially after what you just said. The 5 has been out long enough that you're just going to trickle charge any people who
I like that trickle charge.
Thank you. I do come up with cool things once in a while. Like, what was the Fruit Ninja? That was
oh, the Infinite Blade?
Yeah, it's the Fruit Ninja sci-fi fantasy Fruit Ninja. Like, they have no reason to do it other than just to make a few bucks. And then they're like, well, it's trailing off anyway because most people bought it. So why don't we just EA, even though most in the video game sphere are not the biggest fans of EA because they are like just a juggernaut that just chugs out games, whether they're good or not, they have no reason to. However, you got Sony who started this, and then Microsoft super fast. If anybody should kind of be upset, it should be at Microsoft and Xbox. And then so Sony's like, I mean, if you guys are doing it, so why not? And then EA is probably following the same suit. Like, I mean, you guys are going to charge $80. People are still going to buy Call of Duty.
Like, there's no way they're going to underprice their games.
And they're going to be like, who's not going to buy Call of Duty? Well, you're right. So,
well, Call of Duty is Activision, which is Microsoft.
What does EA have? Well, they got FIFA. Battlefield.
Yeah, which is set to drop in February, if I'm not mistaken. But here's the thing, like, Battlefield has become less and less relevant. Like, they're trying, like, they were trying really hard to keep up with Battlefield, and it just...
Yeah, I think the one I bought was their last really good one.
And here's the thing, like, I really like what EA has done with Battlefield and what Battlefield as a franchise has been doing. Like, the team in Stockholm, also, here's a fun fact. I crashed their offices.
What year was this?
Oh, this is going way back. Like, I think back when I was in college, like probably 2008. My dad was like, "Oh yeah, let's go. Like, you want to get a job here? Let's go talk to him." And my dad literally just grabbed me and just. Some people were leaving the elevator. We went into the elevator. We went up to the top floor.
Your dad is just the most like either ballsy or he just doesn't care. What are they going to tell me? No. But until they tell me no,
Probably both. Yeah. So we went up to the reception desk at Dice, which is the Stockholm studio that makes Battlefield, and we're
Wow.
like, my dad was like, my son is interested in making games. Can we talk with somebody? And the receptionist was just dumbstruck. He's like, he didn't say this word for word, but his face basically said, "How the fuck did you get up here?"
I mean, you're up there, so then
Yeah. And then I went on to, so in Europe, all the exit signs are green instead of in America where they're red. So I went on to go push the emergency exit.
oh no.
I triggered the alarm for the whole building. Ah, that was a fun time. It's like, what, 17 years ago?
We've known each other for going on 20 years? 15 years.
Yeah,
and
something like that.
I've
15.
never heard.
This story.
No. I've heard a lot of stories about you in Texas. Never you and your dad being like, oh, is this a game studio? Well, let's just crash this party. Your dad. I love him so much. By the way, folks, you ever meet him? He's just so quiet. You would never, ever suspect
Unless you get a few drinks in him, then.
that he would ever do this. Even then, he's still got to be with the right crowd. He'll still drink. He'll still he will opa later.
Oh, we should try and get him on the podcast in June. We got to figure out a topic.
It's gonna be you, your brother, and your dad, and then this
Art.
Irish schmuck over here on the other side, and then Art. Yeah, you know what? We should. I like that because Art's real. I don't know. I get real nervous. I don't talk.
No, he's that is not him. He's very much, if you put me on the podcast, I will kill you.
Yeah,
That's his attitude.
but
But we'll figure it out.
we do it with your dad and your brother. He'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to pay respect to people."
My brother won't be there. I'd be very surprised if they came this year.
Oh, that's sad. Sad panda.
I mean, they live in Colorado. We're going to see them the month after.
I want to go back.
Oh my god! All right. My rumor mill stuff. I got. I already went through it. Let's just go to Indie Spotlight.
Oh, I got one more. It's not a rumor. It's
Okay.
a fact. So, board game news. So, Hachette is a pretty popular, famous board game studio in France. They make some great board games. At this point, I couldn't tell you any of them. I own some of them, but I couldn't tell you off the bat. That's not what's important. This goes back to, we talked about Nintendo, we've talked about Xbox, we talked about Sony, allegedly, and we're talking about a few others like EA. Board game industry is also now following suit before other board game studios and publishing companies allegedly maybe fall to the wayside like others have, or pause like other big studios and publishing companies like Simon. Hachette is going to raise the prices over, and they did say, quote, Trump's trade war. They are going to increase their prices. They are trying to tell the public it is not going to be anything grand, but as I looked through their article on their website, they never accounted for any percentage or any average or anything like that. So they are leaving it very much up in the air and leaving it up to, them, how they see fit. So,
here's the thing. Like, if you're a retailer, or I guess in their case, they're a quote unquote manufacturer, it's up to
do they sell direct? You can buy direct from them, but most of them is China.
No,
To
like
them,
I'm not talking about where the product is actually made. I'm talking, how do I, as a consumer, buy the product?
90% of the time, retail.
Okay, so yeah, then I would expect to see the price increase.
So that'll be the first. We also have Gen Con coming in late July / early August, which I will be attending, which other than a game convention in Germany called Essenspiel,
Spiel.
this is the largest convention in the world. And so I will hopefully have more info, as hopefully I get to talk to some of my friends who own some of these places and are higher ups in some of these places. Yeah. It'll be interesting in that time period if they're like, well, they lowered, which, by the way, they lowered back to what it was. Side note. But
no one's going to lower it back to what it was. I can tell you this right now. Inflation is real.
Yeah. So I will follow back on that. But this is a interesting what I'm going to be dealing with. We're May 17th and it's late July. It's only a few weeks away before I see and hear and feel any results from Gen Con. So yeah. This will be interesting weeks leading up to it. And as we have already, I think there's going to be more to come. So stay tuned with Geeqoid Podcast.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and any other social thing you can think of. We'd appreciate it. And give us a positive vote, especially on the podcast apps like Apple Podcasts. And
Apple does help. It does help a lot.
I just heard yesterday that we're not on iHeartRadio's thing, so I got to figure that out.
That's sad. I heart you. Oh, he gave her the heart sign over his fucking face. So what indie thing do you have? I had something and I shared with you. Do you have 2 for 1?
No, I thought that was indie thing. I mean, I can show
board games increasing their prices is not indie. Get out of here.
No,
who are you?
It's definitely not. Hold on a second. I gotta figure out how to share. There we go.
Was ist das?
So
it's a 3D map model that looks like it's hand painted.
Indie game
digitally.
That is trains, and this just seems
it's
really
like
peaceful.
Tycoon. He's building trees around the trains. It's not just even the tycoon. He's like moving pine trees around first.
Yeah, no, but like it just
has a very like unusual Minecraft, and it doesn't look like Minecraft at all, folks. But it has a very like soft art, almost watercolor-esque in digital form. What is the name of this really pretty game?
Islands and Trains.
Islands and Trains. There's a waterfall. There's a windmill. Islands and Trains. People, look at this. We're literally watching someone like creator build like in Mario or in Minecraft. Like, oh, I'd like a cliff here. I'd like some pine trees. And then, ooh, do I want a spiral? Do I want another spiral? It is very like woo-saw. Oh, do I want that's a spiral? Jesus Christ. This train is a roller coaster, yo. You better pay me to go on this train ride.
But man, like it's just fun and peaceful.
He's adding rocks. Just for decoration.
It reminds me like original SimCity.
Oh, that's a good call. only astronomically prettier.
Oh yeah.
Even shadows. That was great. He dropped that tree, and all of a sudden, the shadow effect was there. Oh, even with the rocks. That's good. That's great. How much is this? Is it out now? Where do you get it?
So I don't think it's out now yet. It is.
Islands and Trains. Release.
You can add
May
it to your
29th.
watch list. So it's coming out in a couple weeks.
May 29th. Okay. That's cool. That's nice. I shared one with you. I thought because you're better at indie game talk than I am, and I thought, at least with the 8-minute video, you could summarize it better than me. What game am I talking about?
How about we save that for next week?
All right, well, I'll give a hint so everybody can look it up. Shadow Labyrinth. We talked about it a long time ago, but now there's actual...
Talk about a hint. You just give the name away.
Yeah, so people can look it up and then they can discuss it with us. Jesus, Eric. God. Doesn't have to be a surprise. What's our thoughts about it? And then they can be like, you're a fucking liar. Whatever.
Yeah, fair.
So Shadow Labyrinth. Everybody look it up, and then we'll discuss it like it's a book review.
Well, I like this. The book review idea. Like we tease something and we talk about it the following week, and everybody knows what.
They either agree or disagree.
4 people who watch the podcast,
or like, well, the way I got that video was this. And you're like, you're wrong.
All right, my kid's been screaming for like an hour.
That's
I don't
weird.
know what's happening.
Well, I don't know. He's hungry.
Yeah, I don't think that's it. I mean, who knows? But I love you.
Well, I love you. This is me, Jarrad. And I can introduce myself. You can introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm supposed to say, like, this is me, Eric Westland, at Erik Westland on Twitter.
We'll figure this out, folks.
Yeah, it's just still a shit show.
It's not that bad. Get out of here. You're so high critical.
Jarrad needs to set up his social accounts because he killed them a while ago and
long time ago. I know that's not that long ago.
Bro, you got to get back on the socials.
When this, I'll make you a promise, bro. When this starts, at least funding us fun money, whatever.
When it starts funding us, wow. Okay, wow. That is aggressive.
Yeah. Or when
we have 200 downloads currently, but
when we get to, we can add ad revenue and like it'll pay for gas. I don't know. And then I'll get back on socials.
Okay.
Until then, look up Limelighting on YouTube. There were only like a few episodes, and they were real raw. You can look up Jarrad Shaw on YouTube. I'm there. I will be back as soon as I update my PC that can't handle this 360 camera. And you can. There's even Eric's even on that channel. Very old video from
way back.
9 Irish Brothers.
All right.
Me playing around. I'll be back, bro. I'll be back.
He'll be back.
You just wait.
All right. Signing off for Erik Westland
and Jarrad Shaw.
Yes, please give us your likes and follows and all the things. We love you.
I love you guys. I like you guys. Whether you like us, I like you.
End of transmission.